Governor Uzodinma'S reign has brought only sorrow to Imo. Ohanaeze condemns murder of 7 youths by Agbo operatives. The youth wing of the Southeast Social-Cultural Organization, Ohanaeze Igbo, has reacted to the alleged killing of 7 wedding guests by Agbo security outfit in Imo State. It was reported on Sunday that Agbo, a state security outfit, opened fire and killed 7 youths when they were returning to their community in Otulu Orlu East local government area of the state from Awumama in the neighboring Oru West local government area. The incident was confirmed by the president of the General Otulu Community, Nnamdi Agbo, and the Imo State Police Command. However, the national president of the OIC, Mazi Oko Nabwike, on Tuesday said he was saddened that the lives of the promising young men were cut short by reckless Agbo security officers. The group lamented on the grave silence of the Imo State government days after that brutal killing. Nabwike alleged that in Ebonyi State there had been reported cases of the use of Agbo by the state forces to settle scores. Strong allegations. I made a mistake thinking that, Agbo, the outfit itself, was not authorized by the state, and it actually is. In fact, Agbo actually came, was it a month or weeks after ESN by IPOB was launched. So for the state, it seemed as if, at that time, it was confusing, like why. I mean, ESN were literally defending their people in terms of actually tackling the problem of the herdsmen crisis, because they were very brutal. And so at that time, everyone was like, okay, are you threatened by ESN? And then again, Agbo security network, also named ESN, if you shorten it. And so what now happens is, and I think this is basically the aim, is that when atrocities like this happen, allegedly, what would be the usual thing would be that Agbo security network would be confused with the Eastern security network, and the difference is just what body is representing or what body is backing them. And so I think when I did this news the first time, I thought that this was just a vigilante group, and it just run and was established because of the herdsmen crisis, and it really wasn't. It was basically the government's response to IPOB's ESN. And so with this group specifically, my argument was, they might defend, or they can, if they're established, what gives them the authority? Would the state give them the authority to actually, have arms, and, shoot and do all that? But then it's like, they were launched by the government. They were. And the timing of when it was launched was right after ESN. And again, at that time, IPOB were going through it in the media. I mean, that was a very intense time. And so we really saw a petty side of the government, where it was a back and forth between the government and IPOB. And then IPOB released ESN. Next, the government releases ESN as well. And so, so then I think when I was analyzing the news, I thought neutral. I was like, let evidence come out and say, okay, fine, they did it first. Because I'm thinking it's a neutral group, because again, during the time of the herdsmen crisis, I mean, a lot of communities were bringing up and coming up with their own security outfits, and I just assumed Agbo was one of them. But then actually thinking back to the timing of what actually happened, it's not the case. They were launched, moments, weeks after IPOB's ESN was launched as well. And I guess that confusion is basically what they're trying to do, because I actually, in a way, confused Agbo with ESN. And you can really say that, that was their aim. And, if you're not careful, you can also fall for that very, very well. Let's look at the comments. First, the state will never be settled until the people's will and wish come to play. I mean, Ohanaeze is obviously speaking against, Governor Uzodinma. Obviously is needed, but again, I think APC's government has just brought a state of, you can say, impunity. I mean, no one, not that our previous administrations were the best. I mean, we were working on the barest minimum, and now there is literally no standard. You can't even say that there's a minimum. There's nothing. And so, we could say that when we were operating at the barest minimum, at least there was a security in the fact that there was secrecy in the way things were handled. Like there was secrecy. I don't think any other government has been so open to allow disunity, to allow. I mean, the APC have just been ridiculous. Ridiculous. There's no secrecy to it. I mean, and sometimes look at the NSAS protest. What government will openly do that? What government will openly do that? I mean, that is something, the whole world saw, right? And then obviously you have international bodies, but really and truly, all these WHO, UN, what can they really do? Each country has their constitution, so what can you say? I mean, again, we are speaking on human rights, exactly, but holding these people accountable. I mean, it's so bad that we call on international bodies, but then there's a limit to what they can do. Why? Because they can only interfere and advise and, to an extent, place sanctions, but then it must really be affecting them for them to, be as involved. But again, with this whole government, Ohanaeze calling Governor Uzodinma out, it doesn't really do anything. I mean, how did the man even get into office? He was placed there by the Supreme Court. So again, decisions and moves have been made by this government whereby it's easy to tell they did not even take into consideration what the people were thinking. They were just like, you know what, this is what we're going to do. Whether you like it or not, that is your own. And Buhari, although very inactive, very docile, he really pushed that. His attitude, you can sense the I don't care attitude from Buhari, and I think that obviously was a ripple effect into the whole all these politicians, and that is a very big problem. So again, there's literally no point talking, but I mean, it's good to talk and raise awareness, but we talk amongst ourselves when really and truly the talking needs to be done to those who really don't know and who are liable and vulnerable to being deceived by these politicians anyway. But the fact is, the conversation should not be what the problem is. The conversation is how we can hold these people accountable and demand the respect that if you're going to do anything silly, you're going to respect the fact that I can do something to you or you'll be responsible. I mean, I, as in the people, can revoke because they're the ones who have the power and who put you there in the first place. Simple. But again, the entitlement that politicians have to be there is because of the corruption and obviously from political parties. When you're buying your tickets, when you sponsor your campaign, you buy whatever ticket that you need. Yeah, I bought the form, I filled the form, It's like, of course, you would have the audacity because you bought your way there. I mean, when you purchase something, you just genuinely think you own it. And I think for a lot of politicians, it's basically that way. Put what you think in the comment section below and don't forget to like and subscribe.